Pete?
Oh yeah, I know Pete really well. Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of our ambassadors, and anytime I had a meeting this morning with well, not with Pete, but what's his
Pete.
face from Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah, I know Pete.
Sorry, we're live now. Anyways, I had a meeting this morning, and it was like the next day morning his time, and I'm like, it's too early. We need to chill. Okay, let me edit this and get this started. This is the one thing with Zoom. I would rather do this with OBS, but it's glitchy to go straight from OBS. So it's like it's a better quality stream from inside Zoom, but you can't get a pre-saved link like that, unfortunately. So okay.
So we're live?
We are technically live.
We are live.
All right.
We have nobody on yet because we haven't sent out the link, but
well, for our replay viewers, welcome. I'll actually see if I can help you out with the link there, man. Just let me know.
Yeah,
if I can send it out.
Okay, we're live right here. Perfect. Somehow we already have a thumbs up. I don't know how. Share, copy. Then I tagged you, Pritesh.
Yep.
And boom. We're good. Let me tweet it out from my account. And then we'll be good to go. If you guys want to retweet it from y'all's Twitter account, because I tagged you in it, that would be.
Yeah, I'll get it up in the server as well.
Oh, sweet. That works. And then we can get started. It's like, have you seen Space Place? No? Oh, dude. Thursday evenings, earlier than this, Space Place happens, and it's a hot mess, and they all start on Zoom, and it grows. You have a drink in your hand while that happens, so.
It's a very fun chat. It's a very fun chat, let's just say that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, Ryan was playing that song that we're going to be talking about in the live stream today, and I got to say, it sounds really good. I think the fans are going to be impressed by that, and I'm sure we'll get into that in our conversation. But I would actually really like to learn more about the artist and the inspiration behind some of the music. But just listening to it, I was like, wow, this is really good. I enjoy this.
Thanks, man.
We're definitely gonna hop into those details here in a few minutes. Let me see. Can you see the messages, Pritesh, that pop up? You want to monitor those
on the live stream? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I got you.
Perfect. That way we can just sit and chill. So this is the first one for us. So I figured we might as well do it and enjoy our time. So
got Lordy P in the chat. Hello. Welcome, my friend.
Okay. So we can do this. I mean, think of it like Twitter Space, but we're just going to chill. And because I have some questions, I love what y'all are doing, because I think it's Adam and I were talking about this. And so for those that don't know, you guys are formerly ADA Ninjaz, right? Okay. And so you rebranded to Danketsu. Is that how you pronounce it?
Danketsu. So I'm Danketsu. Ricardo is Mirai Music, and we work hand in hand.
That's right. And y'all are both producers, correct? I thought you both produced.
He's the producer. I am one of the two founders and project managers of Danketsu.
Okay, I'm tracking. And so what I gathered is that basically it's functioning as a music collective, to where there's some type of governance that allows you, essentially, the people involved throughout the entire creative process. And then you attach that with a high profile artist to come together and do stuff on top with that. Is that not necessarily, I say high profile, but some big artist or some artist that you want to work with that collaboration? Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe Sushan, you can go from the very beginning and explain the culture of of Danketsu and how it works, the community based system, because I guess that the music is just one of the multiple layers that they have in the project. So maybe we can start from zero, I would say.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It's a good question, and I think when we come to perhaps the process of the music creation itself, that's where Ricardo really knows what's going on. But in terms of Danketsu itself, you know, we sort of connected with Ricardo and Jacopo from Mirai Music back in, I'd say, September 2021.
Yeah, maybe.
Through you know, our friends at NMaker, who kind of linked us up, and from there we just sort of kicked off this process. So one of the things we always wanted to do at Danketsu was to mirror what we were doing on sort of the story and comic creation front onto the music creation front. And how that works is essentially community comes in and votes on things. So they do the same thing on the music, but of course, I'll let Ricardo sort of expand on that in a sec. So building this multimedia sort of business on the blockchain, one of the key focuses, or verticals rather, was music. And when we connected, you know, we brainstormed a lot of different ideas, and this was the thing that stuck in terms of the unique sort of music creation process that we have. And it was awesome because, you know, we didn't actually meet until CNFT Con after having worked together for
Really?
13, 14 months. Yeah. Obviously, because I'm, you know, myself and Tommy are in Australia, Ricardo's in the US, Jacopo's in Italy. So
You don't just all hop over together and just, you know, get together and jam one night or something like that, or put your heads together and go to town. So, I'm sorry. You gotta love the internet nowadays. It makes collaborations really, really cool.
For sure. But yeah, that was like, it was great because we also hung out, you know, we went to CNFT Con, but then we spent like 3 or 4 days just chilling with these guys over in LA, just you know, just getting to bond a bit more, learn a bit more about working together. It's different, right? No matter how amazing it is when you're chatting like this in person. I think we all realized with the events post COVID of how incredible it can be. I mean, I met Pritesh there as well, hung out with him. So that was a lot of fun because we'd spoken before as well. So it's been a fun journey. It's been like 16, 17 months now. We're still at it. We're still making things happen. And now, you know, another new experience on the music front, working with you guys, you know, taking a whole other sort of direction. But in terms of the music creation process, I think, Ricardo, I'll hand it over to you, mate.
Yeah, for sure. I think so. When I first met, I need to be honest about. I'm always transparent about this thing because when I met the guys, they're very organized and very precise in explaining how the things work and everything else. But they started explaining to me, you know, the project and everything, and I didn't know anything about NFTs and blockchain back then, like zero. So when they started talking about NFTs and I was like, okay, I'll just write down notes and I'll research after and then at the end I asked, well, what do you guys want from Mirai Music? And they were like, well, we want music for our project. I was like, okay, that I can do, right? So that was my starting point. And then I asked many questions, and at a certain point I discovered that their incredible community-based system was just mind-blowing because they were asking questions to the community, they were developing the story, and from that story they would create a manga out of that. And so we thought, okay, what if we try to do that with music as well? And I need to be honest, I regretted immediately what I said, because then I was like, okay, so now I gotta do it, right? So yeah, because I'm often like that. I was like,
You can't rug. You can't just like cut and go peace out.
There's no going back.
Exactly. It's like there's no going back. And I mean, honestly, you know, like I saw in that like a big opportunity for myself as a producer, as a company, to explore something new, right? So we sat down and we said, okay, we need to create a process, a pipeline that goes from 0 to fully produced song with like 15,000 people. So how do we do that? So we tried and failed many times, you know, iteration of the process, and now we have a pretty solid way of basically asking first the genre that the community wants. In specific, we write songs for clans, right? So this clan that is the Daisuke clan. So we ask, okay, if Daisuke were to be a song, what song would it be, right? And people, they submit like hundreds of songs. We go through all of them and we try to understand genre, instrumentations, vibe, BPM. So we try to create a sort of like a, I don't know, like a vibe out of it. It takes maybe 3-4 days just to do that. And then we create 4 or 5 different beats out of that. So out of that, like specific BPM, genre, and so on, they vote on that. When we have the winning beat, we create a structure. So verse, chorus, bridge, and so on. Then we create a melody. They write the lyrics on that melody. And then they choose the artist. We bring the artist on board. We do Twitter Space, Discord Live. We produce the song live. We go in the studio. We record the song live with the community watching. And then at the end, we were trying from the very beginning to actually give back to the community. So we are always crediting people, right? So if you go to Spotify, you have community members in lyricists, ensemble, and so on. But we just didn't have the tool that you guys created for us. So at this point, we're like, okay, now finally we can give back streaming royalties. And I bet you guys are gonna go deeper than that. And I'm looking forward to the master rights. I'm looking forward to publishing rights, because that's what we want to give back, because people are writing freaking music with us. So it's very exciting.
I'm with you on the mechanical royalties. That to me is so, I'm a composer, and so I totally, man, I don't think people realize how important, like, you can have great recording artists, but if they don't have a great song to record, you know what I'm saying? And so I think people forget that half of the equation. So I'm with you. All that to say, yeah, streaming royalties is in my opinion, the easiest place to start, but you're not wrong. That is just the beginning. So, okay, I have to ask a music nerd question. So you were talking VPNs and everything. Do you guys do you use, well, one technical question, for your, essentially what you're talking about is governance, right? You're talking about, you know, for those you at home or watching this, you know, that's voting essentially as the thing happens. And so my brain, I go back to Pritesh. Do you remember there was a time like in Ethereum where they would to prove the efficiency or inefficiency of a DAO, they would have 2 opposing DAOs play a game of chess with each other, and see how long it would take for them to finish the game. And so that would require people voting for each move. And that, what you're describing, it kind of invokes that, to me, is kind of what this looks like. So what tools are you guys using right now to facilitate your governance voting, essentially, along the way? Is that a Discord plugin right now, or what does that look like?
Yeah, look, I mean, I'd love for it to all be on chain. You know, that would be great, but essentially it's just a Discord bot that reads what you hold, how, you know, the standard sort of thing that anyone who's kind of in this space kind of recognizes and understands. You, how many NFTs you hold, how much voting power that gives you, and what the outcomes are of it. But we do like to take it a little bit more external. So for aspects of the results, the genre of the music, the type of artists, we do some of that stuff on Twitter, so more people can participate. You don't necessarily have to be a holder, just because, you know, end of the day, everyone's able to listen to that music, right? It is on Spotify, it is on all those streaming platforms. So one thing that we're really big believers in is not gatekeeping our content in any way. So it's the same with our comics. It's the same with, you know, obviously the music. It's the same with our games. You don't need, it's advantageous if you get an NFT because that allows you to interact with it and be a part of it. But to experience aspects of it, you don't necessarily need to hold an NFT. And that's always been something that, you know, we've talked about from the beginning and kind of opted for.
To me, that's extremely in our line of values in reference to, I think it's a narrative shift, and I think you guys are doing a really good job of tapping into that, is that your art shouldn't be, the creation itself, right, shouldn't be gate kept, because you as an artist, as a creative, you want exposure, you want consumption of the thing you create. And I think the kind of bastardization essentially of the business model comes in the sense of the product is no longer the thing generating most of the income. It's the whole narrative around it, slash the merchandise, slash everything else but the actual creation of the art itself. And I think that's a narrative shift that we have to invoke. And so to hear you guys talk about that, that's an extreme alignment with everything that we want to help change. And so I actually was saying, when you were talking about the manga, y'all's graphic artists, y'all have just one, or is it multiple? Because I love their work. Like, they do really good work.
Yeah, I second that. The art is incredible.
Is that like a multiple people thing, or is y'all have one person? I know you keep your artists sacred so nobody tries to steal them. You don't have to tell us who they are, but
No, that's fine. So we actually have a new lead artist on board. He's actually pretty popular in the Cardano space as a 1-for-1 artist, Victor War. So
okay,
nice.
So
shout out Vic.
Amazing guy. He's based out of Brazil. Does some really good art stuff, and my Slack is going crazy. So I will switch it off right now. But so he's our sort of now, or our NFT artist for the future with some of the things that we're doing. In terms of our manga art, we've got 2 manga artists who work on the manga comic side of things.
Mm-hmm.
So they're completely separate to the NFT side. So that's kind of where we sit on it. And then, you know, we work on the story and stuff, implement the music. So, you know, we released a game, I think back in July, that had music that Ricardo and Jacopo basically created, you know, all the SFX and all that sort of stuff. We actually just released a gamified staking platform yesterday, or rather 14 hours ago, and that also has the music from you know, that Mirai has made for Danketsu. So it's you know, really bringing that whole experience together. That's what we envision to do and continue doing.
I love the fact that you're essentially, and I'm putting words in your mouth, but it seems like with the clans and the narrative and the storytelling behind all this, I feel like you're using the music to help create identity, and a sense of basically, who are we? Who is this clan? What does that mean to us? And then I think that's actually, and I'm getting a little airy fairy here, but I do think that that actually encourages people to participate. I think that helps it matter. Like, there's one thing to say, all right, guys, let's get together and let's do a round table and create some music. Like, that's fun for fun's sake. I mean, I'm a music nerd, and I freaking love that. But I think if you kind of start crafting a narrative, hey, let's be a part of something that's bigger than the sum of its parts, and let's be a part of something like that. I think you guys are striking onto some untapped gold mines, essentially, in reference to that. So that's really, really cool. Thank you for entertaining my tech question. I did have that music question. So this is just, let's use the drop that you guys are doing. I love the fact that we're able to help facilitate this, because when you have a collective, essentially, of people, like, one day we're already in talks with some orchestras and like on big ensembles to like pay ownership, like to put this in the orchestra's pockets, every player. So instead of the nonprofit entity trying to pay out to each person, it would go straight to them. And so like this same concept of everybody that had a part to play in this, they get their opportunity to, you guys can work that out before mint to how much ownership do you want to give to these people. So that makes me so happy to hear that, because normally it's like when you think people that are going to use our platform, it's like it's a band, right? Like at the max, maybe 12 people, right? It's even assuming like they're going to go through the engineers and maybe, things like that. But how many people would you say actually participated in the creation of this particular song that you guys are dropping with us?
Well, I think, maybe Sushan knows the numbers better. I think it's not super easy to track because this is the beautiful thing. In a community, there are people that are very strong in like lyrics writing, and people that are very strong in beat making, or they have an idea of like vibe and so on. So you get multiple people participating in all the different stages, and some people participating only in one. So I'm not really sure. Like, Sean, do you have at least an around number? I never keeping track.
Yeah, look, I mean, on the Discord, I would say it's somewhere around that 100 plus mark, right? But then when you bring in the Twitter side of things, you've got a lot more people who are like, oh yeah, I heard the song. Okay, I don't care about Discord. I don't want to go in, but I can, just comment or reply to the tweet here, and I've participated. So if you include those, I think it adds up being a bit more. But exactly what Ricardo said, like the beauty of it is you can participate, you've always got those core people. And we're really lucky to have that really strong core community who will participate in everything and go out of their way to do it, right? And that's really, really cool, because the people that, if I'm not mistaken, Ricardo, that have written or are credited for writing lyrics, a lot of them have written lyrics across all the songs we've released.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
true. And some of them are even singing, like in the song number, so Aramar song, with Billy Martin playing the guitars, and we have Katie Belle, American Idol, and IAGO. It's like just these amazing artists. In the chorus, and I think the introduction of the song, you have community members singing, with the artists. So we created so many layers for people to participate that, like maybe one guy is a strong singer, or he thinks he is, and then I need to fix it with Melodyne. But
yes!
No, I'm kidding.
No.
I'm kidding. No, but the thing is, they're very strong singers or rappers or something, and they just can do that specific part of the song and so on. No, but man, like maybe it's the other way around. One funny thing that I always do with these songs is now, well, when we onboard the artist early in the process, I can ask the singer to, please, can you sing the melody for me without words? But I think the first song or the second one, I had to sing and I can sing, but I'm not a singer, so I had to spend a bit of time or making it decent for people to understand what they had to write the lyrics on. So I guess people are complaining on their side as well. But I wanted to expand for a second. Like, one thing that is very interesting, I think, about this whole process is the gamification of, these guys are amazing in creating this product day in, day out. What they did was, instead of just onboarding artists to and just singing a song, they thought about creating NFTs collections specifically for them. So each and every artist becomes a ninja and becomes part of the clan. They get their own character designed as ninja, and they become part of the clan. So you have people in the clan saying, oh, this is our guy now. So, and with that NFT, you get access to them directly. So we had FaceTime with them and all kind of things. So I think it's very fun to create these different layers of participation and fun for the community. It's just amazing.
That's so cool. I have Melodyne. I've used it occasionally. Now I did virtual choirs where you have like 60 people submit audio.
Uh-huh.
And I had to ISO to RX7. That thing, spectral denoise, dude, like 3 or 4 passes on one piece of audio before I even touched it for anything else. So it's anyways, okay.
But that's, you know, it's not that we need to be transparent here. It's not that in the studio you get, you know, very good things all the time. You know, you have singers sometimes that you really need to work on after the recording. So, you know, we're not complaining at all.
Hey, I feel you. I did some recording here at Ocean Wake in Nashville, and I mean, more of it's orchestral, but yeah, dude, it's post-production magic happens. Okay, that is so cool. So if you participate, you become part of a clan, and then that's kind of there's a whole game side, there's a whole game theory, I think, behind that, which we could probably have an entirely separate conversation about, right? I mean, truly. I want to talk a couple of deets about this specific drop. So for those, I know Adam explained it to you, but for anybody listening, wait, what the heck are you people? What are we actually like? What are you selling? Right, and what is actually being minted in here? And it's different, right? It's not the entire audio attached to an NFT. It's a 30-second clip of the entire audio that's used for reference, but really actually what people are purchasing is a legal document in a tokenized form, right? That represents those streaming royalty income, right? That streaming royalty and the IP of that. So that's actually what is going up for sale with you guys. And I think that's extremely different and unique from a serialized release where you have audio attached, and maybe there's maybe there's a great piece of artwork attached to that NFT of the full audio or whatnot. So, right, it's just a totally different product. It's not a competing product. It's just a different product. And the way you actually consume it is through streaming platforms, right? So, and eventually we'll turn on our own streaming platform that'll be decentralized, and the payouts will be more per stream. But I see nothing wrong with utilizing liquidity from Web 2 to pay into Web 3. Because essentially what's going on is you guys used this for distribution, essentially, for the song, and you entered into the Web 2, the iTunes, the Spotify's, the Amazon Musics. You entered into that world through the gateway of Web 3, through NEWM, which to me is just kind of really cool because you get the best of both worlds. You get exposure of Web 2, you get liquidity of Web 2, and you get the tokenization and the benefits of the fractionalization and the flexibility that allows in Web 3, right? And I know Ricardo, you were jumping like 20 steps down the road to mechanical and masters and all that stuff, and it's so true, and I cannot wait to get there. But you know, baby steps, legal, all the fun things. You know, we chose to do the hard thing first. We chose to get the contract done first for these mints, because when we turn this on, and I'm just, as I'm talking with you and hearing you guys tell me I'm hearing needs and I'm hearing pain points in reference to, hey, maybe we can make the governance easier. Maybe we can make it smoother. Maybe we can always make it on chain. Like NEWM, we just did a governance vote for NEWM token holders, and we actually partnered with SundaeSwap with Pi to do something very specific to what we needed, and so we were able to really kind of like fine tune our needs. But eventually we we'll have an availability for artists on the platform to utilize governance on their artist page to put votes to people who have those stream tokens or mechanical tokens or master tokens, right? To where that you can utilize that to present proposals for your people. And I think that's going to be something. I just heard you talking about that and I went, this is exactly what they need, because then it's in one centralized place that you can set everybody in the same place, and it's per wallet, right? So it's you know what I'm saying? So that to me, I think, is a beautiful thing. I'm very curious, after we give numbers, to talk about like what's next, and what, in the sense of educating the people in your community to go, hey, this is what this is. It's up to us, right, to push this out, essentially. But all that to say, we'll come back to that. So you guys, you mentioned with us, it's already distributed. It'll be out streaming platforms, I think, tomorrow. I think it's hitting the stream platforms tomorrow. The bootleg copy I heard earlier today, I went, this is the Bob.
Yeah.
Pritesh
Yeah,
really.
I was like, wow, this is really good. I
He,
like
yeah,
this.
he walked in. He's like, is that the song that just dropped? I was like, yeah. He's like, dude. I was like, are you surprised or something? What is going on? So, but you guys minted with us. It's 100 million fungible tokens, but we bundled them because they're really tiny, right? So we bundled them. You guys chose some options. Can you give us just a quick breakdown of how many bundles do you have total for sale, and what does that equate to the total amount of ownership, right? So are you selling 100%? Are you selling 90%? And is that represented in how many bundles? And then the bundle prices. I think there's 3 options you guys went for with this. So can we start there?
Yeah. If it's okay though, Ricardo, I will ask you if you can lead on this. For those who don't know, I've been away for a month because I had a baby 29 days ago. Yeah, thanks. 29 days ago.
Come on,
so I've been away for the whole process, and today I've had to jump back in, and I've been following it, just not as well as I'd like to. Yeah.
How are you still vertical, man?
It's going to be done. I think one of the advantages of working in Web3 is you're used to little sleep anyway.
True.
Yeah, and hey, well, look, in the other disadvantage that we have, and we were talking about this before we went live, is that in Australia, everything that we need to work for in Web3 is after midnight. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
all the Twitter spaces run from like 1 a.m. our time to like 9 a.m. So I'm working on the opposite time zone as it is, which has helped me prepare as much as you can be prepared for a kid.
Okay, fair. We should connect later about this.
Okay.
No, yeah. I, when you were saying that, you got in Australia, I literally wanted to stop and go, wants to kill you. I think everything in Australia just wants to kill you. I think that's what the saying actually is.
I think that's an American, that's a very American perspective.
That's fair.
I've been here 15 years. Nothing's happened. I didn't grow up here, so I'm not immune. You know,
I saw a Lakers hat. Did I see a Lakers hat on your head?
Yes, this was picked. Okay. I picked this up when I was hanging out with this guy in LA with Ricardo. So
yeah, Sushan was so excited. Like we were driving, I don't remember, I think it was Burbank or something, and Sushan would be like, Burbank, California, and then Pasadena, California. Like it was so excited to be here. It was amazing. I mean, I'm still excited after 2 years. It's an amazing place. But yeah,
you're gonna have to come visit Nashville soon. I lived in LA for a couple years while I was getting my master's at a SC, so it's I did all the stuff out there. Nashville's just as fun. It's a little less it's more relational and it's less transactional. That's a big thing. So that's one thing I really do like about it out here, but it takes time. That's the one from like a standpoint of building inroads. It's like I've gone to so many just brunches and lunches and not talk about anything crypto. It's just like, how are you doing? How's the wife? How are the kids? What's going on? Let me tell you about my life right now. And it's all about that. And it's great. Like, I love it. Like, I feel like I'm actually building like long-term relationships because we're going to be around for a while. But the building trust and stuff like that, it takes.
Yeah, but I mean, don't forget, I'm Italian, so I'm used to that. But we don't go. Yes, but we don't go to the next part. We just talk about family and food. We never talk about business. That's our downside. We never get to that point. We're like, why were we meeting? I don't remember.
I got you.
Yeah.
Guys, I think we should just real quick, quickly turn to the chat and just say hello to some of the people that are joining us live here. So everybody joining, thanks so much. I appreciate you all watching. We do have a Interesting question. I think, Ryan, maybe we could just quickly touch on this a little bit. Chillgasm had a question talking more about NEWM and understanding how the platform works. Yeah. So he said that I heard talk about how these music streaming platforms weren't doing enough to give back to artists. Maybe it's the pay. How is NEWM doing things different, even though it's still using Web 2? I just let's see, you know, what you can say to that.
Yeah, Chillgasm. That's a great handle name. So two things. One, and Ricardo, I think this is going to be right up your alley. So if you want to swing in here and pipe in, because I think just the more the merrier on this. But it's not that there's not money there. It's that the money's not going where it should. Really, only 20% roughly of, and this is directly in reference to streaming royalties, 20% of the money is going to the artist, maybe 80% is going everywhere else. But and so you look at the rate of pay on Spotify, which is 0.003 cents per stream on average. Basically, 1 million streams equates to $5,000 worth of income, roughly. It changes on jurisdiction, and that's another funny thing. But all that said, there's a lot of money that does not go back to the recording artist in reference to streams, and it's just because of the privilege of being the middle person, essentially. And so how is NEWM going to fix that? Well, we're going to turn on our own streaming platform. That I can tell you that, and I say that very flippantly, but honestly, between the two between actually fractionalizing and creating the boilerplate contracts that can basically COA every musician rather than, so everybody can use it, and they not have to worry about some legal problem later down the road. That's a much harder thing to do than to just replicate a streaming platform, to be frank. And so I say it flippantly because that's coming, but that's going to be kind of the icing on top. And what do I mean by that? And this is going a step further with NEWM, like with purchasing one of these bundles of stream tokens. I want you to picture a world in which IP, that ephemeral concept of intellectual property, has been given a tangible shape. You can touch it now. Now it's in a digital medium, but it's been given form. We've taken it out of the ether, and instead of a document of contracts, like Justin Bieber did his sale of $200 million for his catalog, we've taken it and now it's represented in a token. That's a essential change in narrative and a shift for people to consume. And all of a sudden, people go, oh, wait, the value is associated with this. There's value in this. And so I want you to fast forward to, let's say, prime example, this piece of music. Well, let's say this music goes viral. Let's say this drop goes viral and it gets, I don't know, we'll just go lowball. We'll say 5 million streams in like the next 6 months. Okay, that's great. That makes a lot of money for some people that are holding the tokens in the front end. But let me ask you something. Mariah Carey, she comes out of hiding once a year, and she does All I Want for Christmas Is You, and she makes $16 million every year off of the things attached to that one piece of music. So what I'm asking you to do, and what we're asking, that I say we, the whole thing is asking it. Don't think of this as degenerate PFP. I'm going to go in, buy this, and then flip it. Yeah, people will play that game, but this is real investment. And Mikey said it really well last week. He said, "This is you choosing to. You're believing in me, and you're believing in me as an artist." And so I would hope, and my goal is, and my dream is that if I'm going to go and purchase streaming tokens, that's a step above purchasing merchandise. That's me saying, I believe in you, the artist, and I believe in this work that you've done. And if that's the case, why would you not want to keep that for All I Want for Christmas Is You? Is that if I hold this over 20 years, just strictly the privilege of generating part of the income becomes valuable itself. So inherently, the tokens associated with those income, the royalty income, they will inherently increase in value because the artists themselves and that work cumulatively becomes more valuable. That's what you have to start thinking of. And I think it's actually really plays really well into just everything that Danketsu does, because it's modular, right? Like it's not just music. It's not just manga. It's not just this. It's how does everything fit together as a whole? And I think streaming royalties, and particularly these tokens, you have to look in the future, and you have to look how does that fit into the whole of everything. And I also want you to picture a world where maybe Danketsu they gamify this. I've painted this picture before, but Ricardo brought it up, so I'm going to use it. Let's say one day, if you want to have the privilege of even purchasing part of the master rights of this song, or part of the mechanical rights, because if you own part of the masters and you own part of the mechanicals, you get control essentially where this thing goes, right? So that's a big deal, and you would hope that would, whoever owns part of that would not be a bad actor. Well, let's say in order to even get access to purchase those, you have to have skin in the game and all the other types of IP. And so let's picture a world where you token gate access to the next level of IP ownership, because that means you have to buy so much of this to get access to buy so much of this, to get access to buy so much of this, to eventually get to those master and mechanical rights, right? And so that, in my humble opinion, is where I want to see this going for artists, to be able to really start visualizing and helping the average fan and an average investor and a super fan to understand that, wait, the art itself is the value, not the merchandise associated with the artist. Yes, those are still viable business models. They will always be. But let's really, as a whole, as an entire ecosystem, really try to push the narrative that, wait, yeah, you can pay your $12 a month and get your streaming and just listen to all you want to. But let's really, really put the focus back on, wait, it's my music that should have the most value. T-shirts with the band name on it, yeah, they can make money, but really, how are we in a world where that makes more money than the very thing that makes the band is not making that much money? Or at least the artists themselves aren't seeing or potential to see it. And I just went way off on the soapbox, and I really apologize. But that's really how I feel about that. And so if you go reverse everything I just said back to streaming tokens, no, I think it's up to the artists, and I think you guys did a good job of this, to set their bundle packages, the amount percentage they choose to sell, and the price at which they choose to sell it. It's up to the artist to make that call on the value of their music. And if Ricardo and them, if they think we average 250,000 streams per month, then they could argue and say, well, if we're going to have a couple million streams per year, then we can say we theoretically should generate around this much revenue from the current streaming platforms in a year. So if we know that that's our typical thing, then we think we can value our stream tokens at this price. And the beauty of it is, it's up to the community and that open market to say, we agree with you, or bump that, I'm not spending that on that, because I'm not going to get my ROI within a year. And that's okay, right? But that's the beauty of it. Everybody has a choice. But I honestly would hope that anybody that's buying these for two purposes, for tax purposes, you want long-term capital gains, not short-term, we would hope. And two, you would want to see the track record first. See what this artist is going to do. I think that's you owe it to yourself, if you're really looking for, good art and good musicians. And think about this too. If they do well in their sale, how are they going to turn around and use that income? And I think that's another part of the equation, that artists, you're going to see them be more transparent with their communities, because they're going to say, thank you so much for supporting me and believing in me. Here's what we're doing with the money that we just got from this. we're able to live now. Thank you. We didn't have to go to a label and give up all of it. But also, we're turning this around to do a music video. We're partnering with X, Y, and Z to do this, or we're upgrading our equipment, or we're getting the next version of Melodyne, so nothing's out of tune. I'm just making up crap at this point, but I think that presents itself a way for artists to not be beholden to their fans, but a way for fans to. I know we always say direct connect with artists, but I think that just it opens a world of transparency, and I think it's up to the artist to use it or lose it. And I think that in Web3 particularly, artists who understand that you can be an inch wide but a mile deep with your fan base and be successful because you have a pulse on your fans. I mean, you understand the value in who they are. I think they're going to be more successful than others. That's just my opinion. Ricardo, do you have anything to say about that? I'm sure you have things to.
Which part?
To take your pick, man. I just rambled for a hot second. Sorry, yeah. I went down the rabbit hole, and Pritesh, you're supposed to keep me from doing that.
I was so into it. I was like, okay, yeah, this is good. This is good. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries, man. No, I like your passion, and I think we are at a time where. So the thing that I liked, to be honest about what you said, is that so you are opening a room for having a dialogue about this with the Web 2, right? Because I think that oftentimes we just, a lot of people, they just go like, oh, that's evil, that's freaking, we need to destroy that forever. But that's not really the point, isn't it? Like when you see an artist coming into, for example, Web 3, right? You have this skeptical kind of feeling like, oh, why is or she coming in, right? But at the end of the day, they just want to make art, and they want to find a sustainable way for themselves, right? To live in this, and they don't want to give up their current business. They just want to create something else or better for themselves. So I think the dialogue is a very important part of this. So going to those BMI, ASCAP, whatever, and just trying to understand, can we have a dialogue with them and trying to understand what they need to make the system better? And if we can provide that tool to them, that's a good thing, right? And same thing is not about bombing Spotify, it's about, can we create an alternative, but that is viable for artists and for the economy and for creators, for producers, and so on. And I think that's what Danketsu is doing as a project, and that's what I love about them. Because every single time, this I'm telling you, I would go into a Zoom meeting saying, "Oh, I got this new idea. Why don't we do that?" The question was always, "Yes, but okay, how's that value for the community?" Every single time. And at the beginning, I'm telling you, and I don't know if Sushan knows this, I was a bit annoyed because I was like, I just got an idea. Why don't we do it, right? But for them was always the wall of, okay, let's find the value behind this for community, for artists, and then we can do it. And that's a good question for me as a music producer to understand, what can I do better? Because, oftentimes I think about, what do I do with clients in general? Right? I speak with them, I understand what they want, and I try to translate their non-musical language in music, and I try to provide value to them. That's what I do, right? So why should be different with communities? It's just the same thing. It's just a scale, right, that we are approaching. So it's nothing new for producers, but can be something new for artists that they approach this world. And I think we're just at the beginning, as you mentioned. There are many, if you think about master rights or publishing rights, there's so many layers to that, right? Who's talking? So when you're selling your song for Netflix or something, who's gonna do that, right? You need to you need to have a manager. You need to have someone that goes in there and says, okay, my guy wants this and that. We need to figure out how can we do that through blockchain. But that's a good question to ask, right? So yeah, I think I'm very excited about the general vibe of what's happening, and I'm glad to be part of the conversation. That's all.
You hit the nail on the head, I think, in reference to like ASCAP BMI. All right, for anybody wondering what the heck those acronyms are, those are PROs. There's another acronym for you. They're performance rights organizations. And basically every government entity, right, every new jurisdiction has their own version of a PRO essentially. And they all theoretically talk to one another. And basically, like for us, I have a very good lawyer friend of mine who he did a lot of litigation with IP and DC in the 90s. The whole thing about it has to pop up like when you're clicking terms of service and it has to actually show up on the screen. He was part of that legislation, like that happening. And we were talking, and he said BMI and ASCAP are terrifying. He said they have more direct access to senators than most lobbyists do. They have a war chest of $300+ million. ASCAP's been around since 1915, and they're behemoths. You cannot fight them directly, at least not right now. So don't try it. I went, this is great. This was like when this was whenever NEWM was Muse, before I got the cease and desist in the mail from the band Muse for using Project Muse. Yeah, that was a hot minute ago. And the farther along we go with this, and you were already talking about this, I feel like, Ricardo, you've either read our white paper or we're just really meshing right now. But it's ASCAP and BMI are going to be around. They're going to still be here. They're not going away anytime soon. However, think about this forward 10 years down the road. If we have a massive catalog of things and everything's already connected, and everything's already, you can snapshot and see where everything is supposed to be. Why would you want to wait 6 months between the time of consumption and the time of somebody typing something in Excel to get your payouts, right? And so there's a B2B solution there, a business to business solution that can be presented to both of these entities that go, hey, please don't squash us. We can probably save you 2% of operating costs for your thing. And people go, 2%, great. Well, if you're dealing with hundreds of millions of dollars, that's no small potatoes. And so if you do that, then they're your friend. And that's not a bad thing, because eventually the snake eats its own tail. And whenever people go, wait, why would I register with ASCAP and BMI whenever I only get X amount? But if I go with this decentralized thing, everything's already mapped as soon as I put it out there, so I don't have to wait for them to be reported about before I can see this. You see where I'm going with this. And it's the same with streaming too. It's like, why would I wait a bare minimum of 60 days between the time of consumption to the time of me seeing a penny? It's because somebody literally hasn't typed it into their Excel sheet to pass it off to the third party to actually do the payouts. Well, instead of that, why don't we get paid out every epoch, or maybe like even if it's on a daily basis, whatever you choose for sidechain, right? Like whatever you're choosing for your parameters, and those aren't just pies in the sky. Those are real things that are going to happen. And I know that NEWM, we're working on those. That's part of our roadmap. So I'm with you. I'm totally with you. So I guess that's my roundabout way of saying that. So I would hope that musicians right now understand there's a lot of cash grabs going on. It's just what it is. I have no problem calling it what it is. There's a lot of music that has looked at the success, and when I say success, I mean the monetary success, not necessarily actual following, but the monetary success of visual PFP art on blockchain in general, right? And what you saw, at least from the beginning, in the beginning, was them trying to superimpose that visual art medium over just music and try to make it work, I think. And so what you ended up having was literally a serialized release. It's like the digital equivalent of minting 30,000, or 1,000 CDs and selling them for exorbitant amounts of money. And then promising X, Y, and Z services with no legal contract backing up actually requiring them to do it. And so that I feel like there's going to be a lot of really unhappy people in reference to like some of the OpenSea stuff and all that going forward. So I think we're at the beginning. Like we're really at the beginning, and and I'm excited to where the next 5 years are going to take us. It's going to go fast, but it's also going to take we're in a marathon. It's not a sprint. So, but I'm with you. I think you guys, though, I really am super impressed with. You're so focused on community, and you're so focused on. I know I say this a lot on our biweekly team meets. I go, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I think you guys, from everything you speak about how your process happens, that's like central ethos for you guys, which that has to be sometimes frustrating because it might move a little bit slower occasionally, but I can't imagine how rewarding that has to feel whenever you have your finished product. Can you speak to that a little bit? Because, and I guess actually in direct, let's bring it full circle, because I know we've gone down the deep end of music and tech and all the things, but back to your drop of your piece of music, and I know we didn't actually go into the details, and we need to do that. But can you talk a little bit about that creative process, and just kind of what are the things that make you really happy about doing this, and then what are some of the challenges that you find come with this type of creative process?
Yeah, well, that's a very complicated question, I guess. I mean, to me, it really doesn't change much from any other production, right? Like when you enter a creative process, you always have expectations and you try to do your best and so on. But I think that what really is different about this is, I mean, you write music, you're a composer, and we all know that you have a specific idea for the song or the composition and so on. And at times you find yourself discussing with the client saying, well, I think we should go this way. The client says, blah, blah, right? And I think a good lesson that we're learning through this process is letting go your ego. And it's an invaluable lesson as musician and producer, understanding that there's something bigger about Danketsu that is not you, and is, hundreds of people, thousands of people believing in this project and saying, we really think that the sound of this clan is not this yet. So you need to work a bit more about like this specific whatever bass line, or the drums is not there yet, or the lyrics are not yet what they're supposed to be. And letting yourself be like, okay, I'm just a filter for this thing to happen. I'm just giving them my expertise as music composer, producer, and just letting them create. I think that's very, very interesting part of this process that I've been learning through these, because it's unique experience, to be honest. And but I think about this song specifically, it was amazing to create these with NSTASIA in studio, because she's a top singer. She's just amazing energy, and she gave a lot of like inputs about production, about lines, about everything else, and it was just amazing to collaborate. And I'm very grateful for that, because I mean, her album New Religion was half produced by Skrillex. She's writing for Beyonce and Kelly Clarkson and so on. So when you meet an artist like that, you immediately learn something, and the energy is amazing, and I'm very grateful for these as well. But I'm very happy about the result. I think we did an amazing job with production and mixing and mastering, so I'm very, very happy.
I'm ready. Do y'all have a hi-fi audio version? Do you have like a 192 file?
Yeah.
Can you maybe send that my way?
For sure.
I live my life in 192 if I have the option. Sorry. And so I'll be honest with you. I'm really excited that we're able to do this drop with you guys and to facilitate this. And I really need to work on this wording, because I don't think it does it justice. It's a drop, but it's really, I mean, we distributed it, but then there's something on the back end that happens afterwards, right? Because theoretically, an artist they can distribute, still fractionalize the tokens, but keep them all. They don't have to sell them if they don't want to.
Yeah.
Right. Like you don't have to. There's the half of that equation doesn't have to happen. But I'm really happy that you guys chose to partner with us and to use us to distribute and to fractionalize in that same vein. Let's talk real fast about the sale and your guys' rationale about choices, business choices. And this is the part every musician always goes, business? What's that? No, I'm kidding. But I mean, that's musicians, we like to create. We most musicians don't even, they're like, oh, I got a check in the mail. Oh, this is so cool. Great. On to the next piece of music, right? So
yeah.
But can you talk a little bit about that for us?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, first of all, our first choice was to keep some of the streaming royalties, but not for ourselves. Because as I said, you guys came along after we started this entire thing. And at the beginning, to make people sort of like participating and having something in return, we created what we call the Music Pass. So the Music Pass was an NFT that gave people the ability to participate, right? And what we did as well was, I can show you here. We created, this is a postcard, but it can be played on an LP, right? This is a full-on recording. So you can listen to the song through this postcard on your LP.
That's
right?
Cool.
And with this is just whatever, like an empty one, but we sent these to all the participants with the signature of all the artists and at the back some words from the artist, because we were looking for ways to give back to those community members. And so what we're doing with these percentages that we're keeping, 8%, we're just giving to people that participated in our old songs, because we owed them, right? So we really wanted to do this. And then we are selling, I think, 92%. So the rest, 10,000 bundles are total. So we're selling 9,200. And there are 3 different options: 1 bundle, 8 ADA, 5 bundles, 32, 10 bundles, 56. So we're trying, to push people into believing in what we're doing and buying a bit more, not just one bundle, so they get discount. But really, I think for us is, again, trying a new way to sustain our vertical, the music vertical, and to give people the possibility to participate more. Because really, I see these, and I'm every day I'm thinking about this. I see these as a valuable business model and way to produce music in the future for multimedia projects, yes, but also for artists. Because, well, first of all, you need to learn the expertise of how to do this with a community, that's for sure. But there are people out there like Mirai Music, the guys from Danketsu, they can kind of help you through there. And you can, have a 8 songs EP, and 1 or 2 of those songs are produced with the community. You don't need to produce like 12 songs with a community if you don't want to. You can do it with 1, 2, but you get that interaction and that pulse, as you're saying, with the people that are listening to you. You're giving back, and you can give those tokens for free to those people, and you can sell the other side. So you can gamify these at multiple levels, and I really love we can do this. And I think Sushan feels the same. We can finally give these royalties to our members, because
Ricardo,
that was our goal.
Are you actually saying that you're treating your music like currency? What a concept. No, I joke, but like that, guys and ladies and any musician or producer or anybody in the industry that hears this, that is like, I mean, come on. Like, instead of it, let's just say I don't have $5,000 to pay for studio time for X, Y, and Z, or I don't have $10,000 to pay for a mastering engineer, or whatever, right? Or somebody doesn't have an Ampex 102 tape deck saturator, like from the 70s or something like that, right? You, instead of saying, please, sir, or please, bank, give me a loan, you can say, yo, would you like partial ownership? How about I pay you in that? And then I don't know if musicians, if that even crosses our mind sometimes, that wait, the thing I'm creating has value. How can I capitalize on that value and monetize that value to work for me? So I love that you're already doing and talking about that, and I love that it seems to make so much sense and clicks with you in reference to that, because I hope the more people that figure that out as a musician, they're going to go, holy crap. Oh, that.
Yeah. I mean, it does make sense to me. And And what I'm always asking myself is, so when you feel you're being scammed, for example, right, by some situation, or there are always two sides of the thing, like how much you don't know because they don't want you to, and how much you don't know because you don't know, because you never ask the questions, you never study it, right? That's always a balance, I think, because when you enter, for example, even this, right, with you guys, you need to understand what you're doing. You need to understand what's a bundle, how you can gamify that, how can you give back, and so on. So I think it's I always try to be sort of like self-sustainable when it comes to learning these things, because I think when I was younger, I was really naive, and I was like, well, someone else is going to figure this out for me, right? But at the end of the day, is when you talk with a lawyer, with a whatever, like an employee of a bank or any job, they know 100% everything about their job, their contract, their taxes. But musicians, most of the times, they don't. If you talk with like the average musician, they don't know the difference between master rights, publishing rights, and streaming royalties. They just don't. And so I think that's our duty as musicians entering the Web3 as well, trying to understand the system that is in place right now, trying to understand what works, because there are parts that really work, but other parts don't. So we need to understand that. And I think it really is our duty right now. Right. So I'm glad to have, again, these conversations with you guys.
That's so well said. I think, Zuan, were you going to say something in reference to that, or from earlier?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you, man.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm like really lacking sleep at the moment, so I'm just happy that Ricardo is leading the show. I'm very chatty.
No worries. Oh yes, Sean is very chatty.
Yeah, in other situations I will be talking a lot. So, but it's good to have Ricardo here. Otherwise, I'd kind of be really, really quiet in this. But look, I will add that just, I guess, to mirror what Ricardo was saying, I think it's always been something that we've wanted to do, in that we can provide something back to everybody who has helped us create this music, right? And I think one of the things that we didn't perhaps touch on is that we've had people play bass lines for, one of the tracks. Some other instruments help with the production, all those sort of elements. So now that opportunity is finally there, right? And that's why when I first caught up with your your co-CEO, Ryan. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, like I don't know when it was, like back in November maybe. When I first spoke to him, so it's been a while, right? And I'd come across what you guys were doing at CNFT Con, and I was like, this is exactly what we were looking. I remember talking to Ricardo about it, like on the drive back to LA from Vegas. It was kind of like, dude, this is exactly what we've been waiting for. Let's get in touch with these guys. And I'm like, once I get back home, I'm gonna try and figure out, how we can progress this and make it happen. So I'm really, really excited to kind of see how this goes. And we've also worked with mutual have musicians that we've both parties have worked with, right? I think you guys did something with Nito. Is that?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. He was our second drop.
Exactly. So we did a track with Nito as well that Ricardo, actually, Mirai Music worked with Nito on, called IAGO, which is like let's go in Japanese.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah. So it's great. Yeah, I'm just, the more opportunity there is to collaborate, the more avenues there are to, because at the end of the day, for us, one of the things that's always been important, right? And you guys, from what I understand, really follow that vision or have that focus as well, where one, you want to help, or rather utilize the reputation of, but also support musicians already on the chain. So you've got the likes of Juice and Nito and then there's the guys over at Crime Fighter and everyone else, right? But then you also want to bring musicians onto Cardano, and you guys have done that. We've been really lucky. I think it's like seven musicians, 7 artists now who we've brought onto Cardano, and that's exactly, yeah.
I'm telling you, I said this earlier this year in reference to the foundation, Cardano Foundation. They do a lot of going to governments, and Jeremy does a really good job. Let me just preface this with saying Jeremy does a great job with what he does. But I think the foundation, I would love to see the foundation help turn resources inward to the community, because it's easier for a business to go to another big business and go, hey, we have a B2B solution for you that's beneficial for both of us. Oh, by the way, we're using Cardano. Who cares? It's saving us both money. You know what I'm saying? It's much easier for that to be the case than for a foundation that goes, hey, use our blockchain. Why? Use our blockchain. It's green. Okay. And do you see what I'm saying? And so, so you hit a nail and not a pain point, but just a point of yes, it's up to us. Like, it's up to us to actually really, in my opinion, I think it's going to be music that's going to help drive a lot of mass adoption for Cardano. I'm a firm believer. I look, I see this and I see what I think is going to be very successful. Not just even from a monetary standpoint, but from I think the people that it helped, that were involved in this creation, and being able to get something back and to be able to see some tangible thing of, oh, this is us. I truly think that they're going to have a great experience with that, and I think the narrative is going to craft itself. But I see a future where this is a thing. Like, this is a part of the suite of products that you will offer artists that you bring in. Do you know?
It just came to mind that we haven't mentioned Gianluca yet. Gianluca is our music manager guy, and I brought him, on board because we needed artists, right? And I think he did an amazing job finding amazing artists that he had interest for creating a different business for themselves. So like expanding, and I think all of them, they did great in, embracing the culture of community and everything else. So I just wanted to mention Gianluca, that I think he's doing an amazing job bringing like the right people on board, and he has the same culture we have. So bringing people from Web2, teaching them about what we're doing here, giving them the chance to learn and to create like a different business for themselves, and it's really great.
Yeah, to sort of just like expand on his network, where very quickly, using an example, right? We were all at CNFT Con, and he goes, okay guys, I have to go meet Tom Jones backstage, so I am out, I will see you later, right? So that's the kind of stuff this guy was, and I was just like, oh, okay, so the guy Carlton danced to his songs in Fresh Prince from Bel Air, yeah, right. It's like so separated for me, but we have this guy who I just drove over with from LA, and he's like, yeah guys, catch you later, just going backstage. So big shout out to him, because
he's amazing. He's amazing guy.
Yeah, he knows, and all the artists that he's connected us to as well. It's been an absolute pleasure working with them and getting to know them, and just such real people. They genuinely care. They've loved the process. It's been amazing. But yeah, glad you brought him up, Ricardo.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you're touching on something, and I know we can talk for. I feel like we're in a company of good people and like-minded individuals, and this is so much better than a Twitter space. I'm just going to point that out. This is why we've gone for over an hour now. But I mean, truly, there's still a business in this, and I think People should understand that. And I think for me, I was a teacher for half a decade. So, recording artist, and conductor and whatnot, but I did teach. And so I'm always thinking about, okay, what's the lesson in this? Or like think of, what's consumable, right? Like what's a bite-sized thing that artists can take away and use. And I would say there's no magic bullet in crypto for music for you to be successful. There's not if I go mint a NFT of my music, it's going to magically I'm going to be a sensation. There's still the business aspect and the business side to your career as a musician. And that's, whether that be networking or, business deals or knowing your worth, knowing what smart contract you're interacting with and knowing what that smart contract is going to do. That's the equivalent of reading a contract. Let's just be honest. Right. So you guys are providing a service. You are providing a service for, yes, you're bringing in really, really cool artists that have been successful in the traditional sense, and you're exposing them to this whole new world of crypto. But you're giving them, and you said it, an experience, and it's a joyful experience, right? And it's something to where you can ease barriers that are pain points normally, right? And so I just think for any artist listening to this, you need to take a page out of their book right now and go, wait, okay, there's still business dealings. The only difference now is I have more currency. I have a different currency set I can work with, at least with us, right? I now have a new fresh set of currency instead of just cash. There's value, but you still have to make a deal, and you still have to honor things, and you still have to not write a check that you can't cash as an artist. And so I think, and I want to keep saying this just every time I talk to artists, if you're selling fungible tokens or non-fungible tokens on Cardano, it's all the same essentially, right? They're all native assets. If you are selling a token and promising a service, if you have possession of that token and you do not have that attached to a contract in the metadata or Arweave, or some storage that's attached to the token that you bought, you have no legal recourse. So as an artist, I would say a best practice as an artist is for your business dealings, yes, put it in the metadata, make a contract, attach it in your token if you're going to make a deal with somebody on something. But if you're saying, hey, if you buy my NFT, I'm going to get you access to X, Y, and Z, don't promise that, because that's going to set you up for a bad thing if it's not attached to anything legally, right? So better yet, set a precedent and have a reputation as an artist to go, hey, if we buy this guy's thing or this artist's thing, they normally do X, Y, and Z. And that's an easier way to cover your own rear end, I think, from like just best practices in Web3, especially where we're at right now. I would say, just as an extra aside, you guys are so business minded. It seems you get that side. And Ricardo, I know if you do film score composition and you're having to deal with clients, or you're just doing, that's your bread and butter. You have to know your worth, and you have to know your contract before you do any music making. Otherwise, you're losing money, right? And I think a lot of musicians, it happens in reverse, and that's how a lot of them get burned or feel like they got done wrong, and they might have, but they still did it to themselves because they didn't do the due diligence, right? And so I think it's super important for musicians and artists that Web3 is not a magic bullet. It's not going to make you rich overnight by minting an NFT. Arguably, you can get hurt even worse, I think, in Web3 sometimes if you're not doing your due diligence, right? So I think you guys are doing it right, and I would hope, and I want you guys, and same for the it's same for the other music collectives on Cardano. I want us to build those up, because you guys you're not a label, but what you are is essentially, it's a Web3, it's like a concierge service almost of, here are the products you can do with Web3. Let's facilitate some things. here's probably the best practice on how to do X, Y, and Z, so you have a good experience in Web3, right? I don't know what the term for that new position job is in the Web3 space, but it's definitely something, and it's coalescing in real time, it seems.
Yeah. I think these guys are doing this amazingly because they have so much expertise that literally the first thing that all these artists asked when they entered was, yeah, but can we have like 2 or 3 calls with them and ask questions? Because the Sushan and Tommy, the co-founder of Danketsu, they do that beautifully, and they did that with me as well. I could ask many questions and learn, and they have answers. And if they don't, they say I don't, and I don't know, and they go research and they tell you maybe a day or two later. So they're very, very, and I think that educational piece is part of what we're trying to do with artists as well. And I have the duty as music production company, and they have the duty as creators in Web3. And it's you touched on a very valid point, I think.
Well, guys, I know y'all been talking for a long time with us, and I want to be cognizant and respectful of your time. So, and also, Zishan, I know you're about to fall over. We need to get you to bed, man. But okay, so drop happens for you guys tomorrow. Yes. I think it's 12 p.m. Pacific time. I could be wrong on the exact time slot, but it's tomorrow. It should be live on all major streaming platforms. Y'all need to make sure you check this piece of music out. I know that I'm going to be participating in the sale because I like it. I'm going to be listening to that quite a bit while I'm in the gym working out too. So it's really good. And you said this earlier, but it's well produced. Like, it's very well produced.
Thank you, man.
No,
I need I mean, Mirai Music is a company, but we produce, myself and my business partner Jacopo. I need to mention him as well. He's in Italy, so he's sleeping, but is half of the value of this production. So we need to mention him.
Well, I look forward to seeing this be successful. I think it will be, and I hope that we can, you guys can reach out to us again, and we can help facilitate some other things for y'all, because I really, really like what y'all are doing. And I think it's just, God, you're doing such a good job at what you're doing. And I think building a community, and it's going to stick around. It's not going to just fade with, the next whatever bear market or fad. You guys have been here, your community's strong. And the thing that I love about it is they're engaged. They're not passive community members. They seem to be active, and that's amazing. And that's something that you can't put a value prop on, because that's a multiplier effect, right?
Yeah, and we need to thank them, man, because I think Aramar, the second song we produced, was #1 in Netherlands and Belgium iTunes, and we got featured in all rock playlist, like the editorial by Spotify, just because of the community and the people that participated. So it's okay. I bet this song is gonna be.
You just hit the nail on the head. Okay, this is the last thing I'm going to say. People always ask, they go, when's Web3 going to be like, when's it going to actually compete with, like, are we ever going to have a thing? And I go, everybody goes, let's wait for Web 2 to infiltrate Web 3 and the good artists to come to Web 3, and then it'll be big. And I disagree. I think what's going to happen is whenever we have that first, like, the platinum artist that pops up out of nowhere from Web 3, and people go, I'm ready for us to turn on a streaming platform. But I love the fact that everybody who is in part of these things, it's essentially a crowd that's going in, and they're using the tools that are available to them with Spotify, and everybody's listening to it. This is not one of 3 people in LA that you take to dinner and go, hey, get us on the top 5 playlist, and they go, great, sure. That's the dirty little unknown secret of that, right? Anybody who's lived there knows that there's about 2 or 3 people. If you take them, half the time, most of the big labels, they don't even care. The distributors, really, they go, hey, what songs you got? Okay, great, we'll make sure this is on the top of the charts or the top whatever by the end of the week.
Yeah, that was very strange, man. I still remember I think we were somewhere with Gianluca, we were having dinner, and he got a message. We're like, are we on all new rock editorial playlist Spotify? So how is that possible? But I think that really what we were doing at the time was so unique that we caught the attention of, you know, Spotify, saying, okay, these guys are producing music with a 10,000 people community, and there's Billy Martin in it, but there's a lot of people like participating. It was amazing thing to see. So I agree with you. It's just a matter of producing very good music and you know, consistently putting the music out there. Yeah.
Well, I'm happy that we're able to be a part of that equation for you guys. And I'm just looking forward to what's going to happen in the future. So congratulations. One, for the creation of the art, because I think it's very well done. And two, just for choosing to be a part of NEWM and utilizing the tool set, because, you know, we just literally build hammers. It's up to the artist and you guys to go, oh, we'll build this house, or we'll build this house, right? So I'm just so excited to see how this is going to go, and I'm excited to see your community get excited about it too, and to just be introduced to them. And so I'm gonna come hang out with you guys in the Discord. I might want to start contributing to something, because I need
there you go.
It's a musical outlet. I've been doing too much non-musical things with the company right now, so I need to nourish myself.
Yeah, looking forward to have you there, man, for the next song.
Yeah, perfect. Guys, do you have any final words for anybody listening to this, or anything you want to say about the drop, or anything else before we hop off of here?
Yeah, let me just get a little bit of that Zushan rhythm going and just tell everybody, get on it. You know, we're just hours away, 12, 13 hours away, maybe a little bit longer. You can go on, buy some of those streaming tokens. I think this is the first time that project NEWM and a NFT project are collaborating as well, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a historic moment, because there's going to be loads more following this. So get on it, you know, and the song is an absolute banger. Ricardo, Jacopo, NSTASIA, the community, everyone's done a heck of a job. So it is going to be awesome. Get on and be a part of this. This is the revolution, or rather the evolution of music happening right here, right now.
Amen to that.
I love it.
Pritesh, you got anything else you want to add?
I think we covered a lot. That was a great conversation. I learned a lot. You know, it's exciting just to think that this is the first collaboration between an NFT project and NEWM.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, it's just exciting to think of all the different possibilities.
You just taking it all in?
I'm taking it all in. I'm taking it all in. I'm soaking it in.
I got you. Pritesh has gone on a walkabout for the past couple of months, being on all the music NEWM Twitter spaces. So he's learning all the dirty little things.
Yes.
So
yes.
Guys, thank y'all so much for your time. I know this went way over an hour, and it was a totally different medium than just a Twitter space. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys did too. This feels much more personable for me. So.
For sure.
Thank y'all so much. Truly, thank you, Pritesh. Thank you.
Yes, likewise.
I'm looking forward to seeing some metrics later on next week after the sale goes live. And I have my wallet loaded up, and I'm ready to go buy some tomorrow. So, guys, thank y'all so much again. Thank you, and please thank your community. I know we're talking to 2 people right now, but there's an entire group that have a part of this, right? So. Please send our thanks and regards and just well wishes, because we're going to be pushing this out from my end. So thank y'all again, truly. So
thank you, guys.
Thank you
to everybody in the chat as well. Hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to like on your way out
and subscribe. Please subscribe to the YouTube. We're trying to grow the YouTube, and then also on Twitter as well. So all right, guys, we'll let y'all go, and thank you. So peace out, everybody.
Have a good one.